So I'm gonna jump into this because um, some of y'all probably didn't know that I have. Well, if you're wondering why the audio for this podcast um, is a little different, it's because I'm streaming this. I'm recording this via my Twitch setup for my live stream stuff of it. So that's why. So I'm going to be posting the video up on my YouTube channel for the podcast, if anything. But I want to take this moment to talk about something because something just came up on my news feed recently, and I wanted to address about it because it's something that's I personally feel like needs to be addressed in topic sense of it. So recently, there has been according to Variety magazine or Variety newsletter, Kanye West released a new album via film starring his son Saint West. It's a movie that was directed apparently by Hype Williams. After today, what's become regular hating on X, Kanye took a break to release his new album via different full-length versions of a film with editing and topography by famed visionary Hype Williams. And the comment that's on this article that says it all that I want to bring up about it is this man is the living proof of the importance of mental health attention to men. Now, I was going to put this as a video on my TikTok, which if you haven't followed my TikTok, please feel free to do that. But I felt like I want to dive a little bit more into this. That is 100% an accurate situation when it comes to that comment. That comment I could not be more agreeable with. Because in this day and age, I personally feel like when it comes to men's mental health, and I'm not trying to say that I want to blame it for this, for the actions that men have done, but I honestly feel like with certain things that Kanye has done, and again, do I care for the album? No, I don't care for the album. I don't care for his music. I don't care for his opinion on things. I don't care for his craft. I have never, I have, the game and him are with some exception of Snoop, I guess, I've never felt more relieved to diminish my fan support for these hip hop artists than I have in years. Snoop was the recent one because of him performing at Trump's inauguration. Nelly, I wasn't really big a fan of, so it's easy for him. But the game and Kanye both have gone to a point where I have both stated that you both have disappointed me as people who have influenced my music at one point. Because I have said many times before, my musical influence comes from a lot of artists. Those two as well. Both Game and Kanye both have given me a musical inspiration to a sense of it. Now, since then, I've retired. I've made that very clear a few times. I've only been re-uploading my musical catalog just so it'll be out there for people to listen to and to appreciate, the ones who at least do. Everybody else, when it comes to new music, that's far from happening. I do have a few unreleased gems that has not seen the light of day, but it's whether or not I want to release them, like a Prince Vault, remains to be seen. The point being is that when it comes to Kanye's political and cultural situations, what he's been doing, there's no excuses, none. But at the same time, his mental health deteriorating is literally what I believe is the reason his actions and his certain words have gone to a recurrence year after year after year. Especially during Trump's presidency and campaign. That man has done everything of disrespect for the sake of getting attention. He really has. I've said many times before, this man is doing so desperate to try to gain attention for his craft of his music that he is willing to be offensive to anyone and everyone. And the moment he gets the attention he wants, a public apology. Now, with this album, give it time. 2 or 3 more months when the album's out, he'll probably publicly make an apology for his action in his ways. I have seen mental health artists like him do much deterioration of their sense of it to do these actions. Another artist that was close to that same situation, many of y'all may not know this because I'm mentioning it, but Charles Hamilton. Now, for my listeners out there who are familiar with Charles Hamilton, you might know who Charles Hamilton is. If you don't, all you got to do is Google Charles Hamilton rapper. That's all you got to do. Brooklyn Girls, if you got to. Mention about Brooklyn Girls. Mention about Sonic the Hedgehog with Charles Hamilton. Whatever you have to do. But yeah, mention Charles Hamilton. I guarantee you will know about Charles. Charles Hamilton was an artist I found out back in 2010, 2011. I was living in Swanton. I was listening to the mixtape Outside Looking from DJ Green Lantern that Charles had put out right after he had put out Crash Landed, I believe, which was his first mixtape after signing with Interscope Records. This dude from Harlem went to a private school, slept in his private school because he was kicked out of his house by his family, and recorded music in his school's studio, including 2 or 3 mixtapes that would go on to be successful, and gained so much attention with his artistry that Interscope would sign him. He would get co-signs from artists such as Eminem, Pharrell, Kanye, that Charles was destined for greatness. He was featured in early Double XL's freshman magazine. I think it was the 2nd or 3rd year that they had done it, with the likes of Wale, I believe. No, probably a year after, with the likes of Asher Roth, I believe Asher Roth, B.O.B., Blue, he would also get a temporary cosign with Lupe Fiasco. He would be affiliated with Lupe, who wanted to put together a faction known as the All City Chess Club, which would be a collective of artists who were former and at the time current inductees for the XXL Freshmen of Hip Hop, which would be a collective of artists that were just new to the scene that were getting some exposure in hip hop. Charles was in that collection. The only thing that surfaced out of that was a All City Chess Club remix cipher of Lupe Fiasco's song "I'm Beamin'" from the Lasers album. Nothing after that would ever be reference. Charles would put out a collection of mixtapes for years called the Hamiltonization Process, including several projects he had pitched to Interscope to release as full-length albums that were declined by Interscope executives. Those including the album for Interscope executives to understand, Ill Domain Music, Crash Landed, which would re-release as a mixtape, and I believe the Pink Lava Lamp. All those are projects he would release as mixtapes. Now, the Pink Lava Lamp is technically considered his independent release as an album. And then the last project he would try to release through Interscope before things would go bad is This Perfect Life, which would become his full-length debut album. Unfortunately, due to uh, a situation with Interscope that came to a point with his mental health, things start going bad. Also, I like to note that he also had another project that he was going to release. I believe there were two other projects that he would release that they were not albums, but they were collections from recording sessions that would have been for his albums. One was, I believe, called Atlantis NA. I believe it is called. Um, I believe it is called Atlantis NA. Um, I may have to look for it because uh, uh, yeah, Atlantis NA. Now, Atlantis NA, also known as Atlantis NA 8, 9, and 10, is a collection of, is a mixtape that Charles would release that would feature music that was recorded between the years of 2008, 2009, and 2010. Those projects were those songs in that collection were records that Charles Hamilton would that had done that were are songs that were recorded by Charles Hamilton during his stay in Atlanta, Georgia. And they will also feature records that were produced by none other than Drummer Boy and DJ Toomp, who were very well known during that year era for producing records for artists such as Kanye, T.I., Young Jeezy, and many, many others. But the album that would be officially released by Charles, that technically would be considered his major release, would his major release isn't in Interscope actually, but the album that would be synonymous with Interscope that he would release independently instead of being released majorly is the Pink Lava Lamp. This was the album that he was going to release through Interscope that unfortunately Interscope said no. When Interscope said no, he decided that, well, I'll just release it through my own label. And at the time, he had a collective of the label called Demevilus. And this was a collective group of artists that he would associate with. Some of them are actually on this project. I believe two of the artists were Baghdad and Young Nate. Those were two of the artists that would be associated with Charles in that. Now, since then, I believe this album has been released through Demevilus and through and with the association of DJ Ski. Unfortunately, one of the controversies of this album or mixtape, is one of the songs is actually a song that he actually did not get approval for, and it's the song "Shining." It's actually another artist's song that he had done without their permission, but he had stated before it's a remix song. So yeah, um, that was strike part one. Technically, strike two, he did an interview with a YouTube channel called Hood News, where he got into a sort of a controversy with his ex-girlfriend, who was in the interview. And unfortunately, in the interview, he had said something disrespectful to her to the point she punched him on camera. That became very viral. Very, very viral. Then, when that became viral, it kind of delayed things. Now, when it comes to officially released through Interscope, the only record that is officially has been released from Interscope that he had done a video for, he had a record for it, a music video and everything, and that is Brooklyn Girls. Brooklyn Girls is the only official release from Interscope that Charles Hamilton actually released. And the song wasn't bad. The song wasn't bad, but it was not enough to garner a lot of radio play. And then, finally, in the midst of releasing the Pink Lava Lamp, not the Pink Lava Lamp, the This Perfect Life, Charles got into another situation because two things were happening in the midst of it. One, I believe Charles wanted to release the album for free as an option for fans instead of having it available for sale. That was a no by Interscope. And then the second thing was he had made a credibility on the art in the back of the album. Uh, one one little thing he had done on that album that he made a mistake in that basically came to bite him back in the ass. Uh, and I understood why he did it, but it was not a good call. Not a good call. So in This Perfect Life, he had the whole track listing, 11 songs. Crooked Eye and Show Too Fly were the only features on it. But he did one issue. He did one issue during that release that made it a problem. If you look on here, the album is executive produced by not only Charles, by James Yancey. And if you know your hip hop, you know James Yancey is the real name for the legendary producer Jay Dilla. Jay Dilla's estate basically said, we are going to take you to court if you decide to use his name without our permission from the estate. The album was scrapped. Charles was released from the contract of Interscope. And several DJs and artists from Detroit planned to hunt him down, let's just say. They did not take that well. After that, he got into a lot of more trouble. His mental health declined a lot more. He was associated with not good people. And then at one point, after he went through medical clearance and such, he was given a second chance. A label called First Take, I believe, offered him a management deal. And with that management deal, he was able to secure a major deal with Republic Records, aka Universal Music. It's through them he was on the verge of resurrecting his career. He had a single, New York Raining, with Rita Ora. He made a featured appearance on Empire, Fox's Empire. So yeah, like he was on the verge of being successful again. He had a single and a music video, New York Raining with Rita Ora. He would release, he would have an appearance on Empire as himself. He did a cipher on YouTube from Double XL that was very, very successful. And by the way, I'm skipping a few projects that he would do in between that years because I know he did one called Normalcy. I know he did like 2 or 3 other ones he's done that I'm not really counting in the sense of it. I'm more focused on the focal points of his music career from his major record record situation, because between that, between Interscope and Universal, this man has had 2 moments where he was going to have a resurgence in his music career, and both of them failed. But at least with Universal, he was able to release 2 projects, an EP called The Black Box, and then finally he would release his only major official album, Hamilton Charles. Hamilton Charles is officially the only listed major release album that he has put out. And it didn't do well. And I personally feel like Universal was to blame for this, because when it came to this album, Charles did not do his own production. Charles was a little lazy in his writing, and an in-house producer did most of the work. That's why. It's a very, very lackluster album. Charles's sound is very unique with his own production. And when you don't have your own production on that music, it makes no sense. None. So, yeah. It's disappointing how things went to this project. The albums, his career of it, in between those career situations of his music, the one thing that has stayed consistent on him is the fact of his mental health. He has had many, many moments where his mental health has taken a nosedive. He had said many things that were just very inappropriate, like ones he mentions about having a relationship with Rihanna. Or he wrote a song about a porn star. Many weird, beyond crazy things. And then at one point, before he was re-signed, he had gotten into trouble in Cleveland for disturbing the peace at a campus in Cleveland and was sent to a mental institution. All these situations happening with his career is a deterioration of his mental health. The same way I feel Kanye West is. And that is why I am bringing up Charles Hamilton. That is why I understand why Kanye is what he is now. It's the same thing. You look at Charles Hamilton's records, he's still making records now. They're not as good quality as his early work. I'm not going to lie to you. But does that mean I don't like him anymore? No, it doesn't mean that. It's just I can't vibe with the music he puts out now. He will always be known for his early work, his quality good work. Once he got dropped from Republic Records and it turned out that music wasn't getting any better with the quality, it seems like there was no help for him. I mean, he's content on where he is now, but let's just say most of the music that he's putting out now, let's just say it's not good work. I personally don't think it's good work. At the same time, I've said this before, Charles is a perfect example of an artist who has had potential but wasn't given the right, not grooming, but more of observation and help mental wise of it, that led to his downfall of his career and where it is now. Because there have been many moments Charles has had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity of getting resurgence of his success, and it's not gone anywhere, to the point where many artists start falling out of respect for him. To this day, I still wish there was some way that they were able to help him in his situation, but I really don't see it happening. When it comes to Kanye, I see that same thing. No one is going to help him in his situation unless they put an effort into it. And that's what's going to happen. And it's mostly because of mental health. Both of these men who are crafted in their work, who have had talented skills in their work, are losing with their mental health going the way it is. It's not going to go any better. It's not going to get any better. And it's showing in the work. I can guarantee you the recent work that Kanye has put out has not been his best work. I guarantee you that. But there will be some people, many, who will still defend Kanye because of his giftedness, his boldness, his brashness. The first time Kanye went through his musical surgence of after the whole situation with his first endorsement with Trump, a documentary came out, called Genius, where it documented his musical career. And then he put out an album. Donda, I believe it was, and then Vultures, which were both terrible albums, in my opinion. I briefly listened to them. His new ones, I don't even want to. Well, Vultures I didn't listen to, but I knew it was going to be a bad album. I knew it was. I didn't listen to Vultures. Donda 1 and 2, I tried. I really tried. And then before that, Life of Pablo, I tried. And then Yay, I also tried too. Neither of those were good. Life of Pablo, I think, is the last record that I tried, but I was not feeling much of it. The last official album I bought from Kanye was my Dark Twisted Beautiful Fantasy. Now, I did buy Yeezus, but I sold it because I realized that album was a waste of money. So I do not own it. But I do own his first four. I own at least 5 of his albums. Graduation, Late Registration, the HD version of College Dropout, his debut, and College Dropout, Late Registration, and Graduation. The only 3 albums that matter to me. I did not buy 808 and Heartbreak because I don't like that album. And anything else aside from that, I do not buy, but I listen to with barelyness. So when it comes to Kanye, I've fallen out for him for already because of his brashness of his attitude of things. So I've been done with him. Charles, like I said, I can at least still listen to his older stuff. Both of these guys with their mental health is literally why I feel like it needs to be observed. The latest action Kanye is doing of releasing this movie and album tells you right then and there why this needs to be looked at. And I'm disappointed nobody wants to take that into consideration. Partly, I understand why, because it's women. Because let's face it, women are dealing with so much right now from men. The last thing they want to do is worry about a man's mental health because of the disrespect that men have been doing these last few years. So I understand, ladies, that you don't want to focus on men. I understand it completely. I respectfully understand. However, for at least the men that you trust, the few, you need to I would like to request that you at least give them the consideration. The men you trust, they can be the elder men in your life, your grandfathers, your fathers, your uncles, your older cousins, at least. Your boyfriend, if you have a man, or your husband, if anything, your brother, if it means anything, the ones you trust. The men you trust, at least give that. The men you don't trust, the strangers out in the world, it's understandable. I've said many times before with people to in general, and I would say women, but I said in general, when it comes to the reason of understanding that women falling out of love and respect for men more and more is valid, because at one point I was the guy that was like the rest of the drone men in the world saying not all men. Not until I realized that I need to take accountability too, even if it's actions of things that I have not meant to do intentionally. So when it comes to men in general for this significant situation, I'm sorry. I will always respectfully believe the women. A lot of people will tell me, well, Rodford, well, Donnie, you really should. How do you know? Like, there are some deceptive women. Yes, they do exist. There are deceptive women that do exist. But at the same time, there's not as many as men. Um, I feel like as I gotten older, I have to be more and more outspoken in the situation about men's mental health because I'm so tired of the fact that it's not getting attention. It's bad enough that there are men who are on the right situation, a path of things, are victims of suicide and death because of the lack of help. We looked at Albert Einstein, we look at Galileo, Thomas Edison, Nicholas Tesla, Howard Hughes. Many of these men have deteriorated in their brain because of their creativity and their genius. And it's not to say that they all died the same way. Many of them didn't. But at the same time, their mental health has deteriorated over the years. They have. But they all have one thing in common. It has driven their madness within that deterioration of their intelligence. Hell, at one point I thought it was the same with me until I realized my autism was at play. And I want to also specify, just because of people on the spectrum does not always mean we are smart. That is a misconception that I've seen a lot happen over the years. People assume that because I'm autistic, it means I'm smart. It's not always that. Not every person who's autistic is smart. It's the misconception that I'm so frustrated with, because over the years, I've seen more and more in that sense of it, with people making that assumption. On another note, I would like to give a shout out to Now I'm Autistic. I'm Autistic Now What, which is a YouTube channel which is an informative for people about the things and the perspective on the media and entertainment and in general that refer to autistic related things. One of the videos that I loved the most was a video about the representation of autism in performance through television and film. How a Korean show was done right of portraying of an autistic person compared to The Good Doctor, at least the American version. And then, of course, the performance of real autistic people like Chloe Hayden from Heartbreak High, who is actually on the spectrum and plays a character who is on the spectrum. And then autistic coded people like Danny Pudi's performance of Ahmed, which is done accurately well, even though Danny is not autistic. And then the person who is, and then compared to, obviously, Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, who is supposedly autistic, but is not accurately a representation of that. I personally feel that when it comes to that whole opposition, I will probably make a video discussion about that in the future, an episode on the future about that. But right now, my thing is more on the sense of when it comes to people on the spectrum, when it comes to people with mental health who are unfortunately doing terrible things of it, but at the same time not getting the help they deserve in the sense of their mental health. People like Kanye and Charles. And if we don't take care of, and this is an example of what needs to be done for other people with mental health. And if those people aren't taken, especially men, are not looked at in that sense of it, it's going to get to a point that's going to be worse and worse. And how I look at that in a sense is when it comes to artists who are, when it comes to Black men who are showing those signs and not getting the attention of unbeknownst to people about that, it's very disappointing. Because I once respected that man. I respected Kanye a lot. He was one of the vocal points of why I wanted to get into production, along with Timbaland, Swiss Beats, and Pharrell. Kanye was the top one. And to see his fall from grace now only disappoints me. So I felt like I needed to come on here to talk about that specifically because it was going to be longer than a TikTok rant. His Nazism or his anti-Semitic spoken things is shock value. His merchandise with swastikas, shock value. It's all to gain the attention. He did this when he put out Ye. He did this when he put out that Church album, and he's doing it again. And I guarantee you, in the next few months, after the release of this album, he will issue a public statement of apology. My thing is for any artist fan out there, especially any fellow black art fans out there, I would not associate or incorporate this man's music anymore. There are plenty of other artists who have done excel work outside of the work that he has done over the years. There are many other hip-hop producers in the game who have done more and have done it in a respectful manner and have not had a deterioration of their mental health to say race bigotry things and use bigotry as a weaponization or fear-mongering for the art of their craft. There are many other artists in the game that you can look up to and aspire to. From Ninth Wonder to Just Blaze, they still exist. They still relevant. They came up in the same time that he did. Dilla, look at Dilla's old work if you have to, as an inspiration. Most of the production today were inspired by Dilla, especially Midwest producers. Kanye does not need to be all of the producer artist that you have to look up to. And to the non-Black fans, whether you're from this country or not, you need to understand that this man is not someone to look at the representation of this country. You should not. I do not need to hear you defend graduation for the sake of him. You don't. I do not need you to do that. You're embarrassing yourself and you're demeaning yourself in the lowest common denominator by using that as an excuse to defend his actions and his words. You don't. You don't. It's not the end of the fucking world that you can't listen to Kanye. You can't respect Kanye anymore. It's not the end of the fucking world. He's not going to lose any sleep over it at all. The only thing that might hurt if it came to any importance is his pockets. And don't feel sorry for Kim either, because Kim's bigotry, hidden wise, supporting for organizations and people that have shown the utmost bigotry, such as recently her doing a promotional photo shoot with a Cybertruck, knowing that it's associating with Elon Musk, who has shown anti-Semitist opinions of things, just tells you right there she's not in for the cause either. She is a white Armenian girl who uses her white privilege and her upbringing to try to keep from our culture and use it in a sense of it to make profit. And every Black woman and Black queer who looks at her in that same case of it doesn't understand that. If the white women want to go look at that, then go ahead. Look at her that way as your ideal of it. But I wouldn't if you want to be on the right side of things. But don't think of her being a saint either. The only people that hopefully would not be deteriorating of their representation of who they are is their kids. If only. I mean, Eli's daughter is on the right path of things. She can't stand her dad, and rightfully so. I can only hope that Kanye and Kim's kids will follow the same route. I really do. I only hope North sees the fact that her half privilege of her biracialness from her mother's side is not in a good representation because of her mother's actions and associations of the people. And I'm hoping Kim realizes that once her daughter gets to that appropriate age to start asking questions, because kids are curious. Curious. But back to Kanye. Every time I see a white person or a person that's not from this country who is not Black defend Kanye's actions, it disgusts me. Defending him because of his music creativity is a disgusting thing to do. And it only shows your bigotry. People need to understand the company you keep. On another subject that I want to bring up, I saw this video on YouTube, on TikTok. Apologize because I'm snacking right now. A creator who I believe his name is Taco mentions about the fact of a cosplayer who associates one of his friends is a problematic cosplayer. And he's writing off of his friend's success because the person he once associated with fell out of a friendship with the other one because he also was a problematic person. And the only thing he's led a hint to, he didn't say their name, the only thing he led to was that he was known for cosplaying a buff Dora, the Explorer. That is Bane Armstrong. Bane Armstrong is a bodybuilder slash nerd cosplayer. There are only two bodybuilder nerd cosplayers that I have known in existence. Bane Armstrong and Jim Cosplay. Now, Jim Cosplay once associated with most of the people in Midwest that I know of. In fact, his ex, I had once wanted to work with. Now, I still associate with her time to time because she also runs an event called the Cosplay Beach Shoot, which is in the Midwest area here in Michigan, in the Michigan area. His ex runs that. Bane Armstrong is the other person. Bane is known virally for playing a buff Dora the Explorer. And there's only one cosplayer that I can think of that he is associated with that got his claim to fame, and that is 100% D. Pity. Now, for those out there who have not followed my TikTok, D. Pity is known for cosplaying as Deadpool and many other masked characters. He also is known for filming other cosplayers in antics through conventions. Some of them are lewd acts. Unfortunately, there are a few cosplayers who have associated with him. Last year at SumiCon, not SumiCon, but I believe it was another convention. It was a family convention. D. Pity and a creator named Whole Wheat Pete, who was getting viral attention for doing cosplay, were known for doing cosplay, inappropriate cosplay. Now, you probably know who Whole Wheat Pete is. He is known for being cosplaying as Zenitsu from Demon Slayer, and he goes around to conventions chasing after Nezuko cosplayers. So, and every time you see a crazed Zenitsu cosplayer running after a Nezuko, 90% of the time it's Whole Wheat Pete. Him and Deep Pity did a video basically making fun of the sexual allegations, I want to say, but I really don't want to say, of Justin Bieber with P. Diddy, because it was speculated, it was surfaced after controversy with P. Diddy that apparently he had made sexual advances with Justin Bieber behind closed doors. So Whole Wheat Pete and D. Pity decided to do a video of that. Whole Wheat Pete dressed as D. Pity, completed with a mask, a blackface mask of Diddy, and Whole Wheat Pete dressed as Bieber, doing several sketch videos as those two people in sexual advance jokes, rape jokes. The most disrespectful thing you can do. And they did this in a public convention with kids. This wasn't at like SumiCon, where a SumiCon is LewdCon, which is for adults. It's the closest thing to San Diego Comic-Con and WonderCon meets AVN or MFC, My Free Cams conventions. Like, it's the closest thing to a porn con, but it's anime. It's not like one of those conventions where it's just adults and you have to be 18 or older. No, this is a con for kids they did this at. So it came to the point we decided, me and a collective of other people decided that we need to expose and let people know, including creators who have benefited off of these two, that they need to be held accountable. Now, of course, how successful they are, they're not going to hold accountability. But some of the creators, I do applaud for finally not longer associating with these two. And I'm grateful for that. Now, since then, D. Pity has now changed his name to just Pids. But he is still problematic. And he's not taking accountability. Neither is Whole Wheat Pete. And I thank most of the cosplayers who have no longer associated with these two. And hopefully they stay that way. But one of the many people that D. Pity associated with was Bane Armstrong. And apparently, Bane Armstrong is now problematic because he has sent death threats to many other influencers, threatening to assault them. And the reason why this taco influencer is mentioning about this is because he's trying to say the same thing that we have said about Whole Wheat Pete and D. Pitty. It's time we start getting these people out of these conventions. A couple of years, I think it was last year or the year before, I remember it was reported that at a San Diego Comic-Con one year, a cosplayer was assaulted, sexually assaulted and raped. And then there was another time a cosplayer was murdered, sexually assaulted and murdered at San Diego Comic-Con at a convention. It's cosplayers like, I'm not saying D. Pitty and Whole Wheat Pete would do these things, but it's cosplayers like them that would associate with these type of people that they will look the other way when things like this happens. And we, the peaceful and normal side of this society in the cosplay community, need to start calling them out. I am so tired over the 10, 20 years that I've been to conventions. I'm tired of seeing that. I'm tired of seeing it being associated. When are we going to stop this? When are we going to stop having these type of people in this community? Hell, I'm tired of some of these cosplayers who are big egoed so much they are willing knowingly to get away with shit despite the fact of problematic things they've done. And there are some. I won't name names, but there are some. Those cosplayers I don't associate with. I hate the fact that those cosplayers who have those big egos on social media that way. I feel like if it wasn't for, and I'm not blaming her because I met her. I'm not blaming her, but I met her. I feel like on a personal level, Jessica Negri was responsible for people to have this ego. Now, again, I am not blaming her. It's not that I'm saying it's Jessica Negri's fault or Jessica Negri is a problem. I would never say that. But I am saying when it comes to her success, other cosplayers tried to write off of the same formula that she had used to get her success. And it's because of that, I feel like everyone is trying to follow the same suit. She is the blueprint. Right up there with Yaya Han, Ivy Doom Kitty. That is what I feel like. I feel like with those women in particular is the reason why it's to this point of their success to where it is. I truly do. Because when it comes to these some of these cosplayers, I feel like their influence to the sense of, I'm trying to be careful with my words because I don't want it to come to a point where people are just going to hound me down. But at the same time, I'm trying to speak my piece on it because of the fact that when it comes to this community, I'm sorry, it's at some point of it that we have to take into account the fact that some of these cosplayers in this community have done a lot of sense of it. By the way, in case people are ever curious on the sense of it, I have met Jessica back in 2015 at New York Comic Con. The 1 year I went, I met her. Took 2 pictures. One that was more professional, that was featuring that was shot by her man Ryan, and then the other one, which is this selfie one that I had to do because when you get a selfie with Jessica Negri, you have to get a selfie with her. So I respect her all over. I respect her so much, despite the controversy people have, whether it's her changing her body or anything else like that. Respect to her regardless. However, I do believe her success and how she gained her success is literally the reason why I feel like every cosplayer who has gained success is riding off of the same coattails of the formula from her success. They wouldn't be doing it now if it wasn't for people like her. Because her, Ivy Dube Kitty, uh, and Yaya Han were like the first ones that I known of. Then came Stella Chu, QT Cutton's KT Cute and Son, I think her name is. Kate Cesarian. Excuse me. Then came Holly Wolf, who came from the Playboy ends of things. And it was once until that started happening with those women, specifically women, that it grew to the point to where it is now. So when it comes to most cases with cosplayers in the community, I am not too remiss to say that they are that sense of their uh, success of things is the reason why uh, most cosplayers are doing what they are now and claiming the fame. Never in a million years would I ever think that a cosplayer who was known for doing cosplay would get movie premiere screenings. Again, with the utmost respect to people like Jessica Negri, there are many cosplayers that I truly respect. Don't get it twisted. But there are some who literally are like, I'm only doing this because I'm getting the benefits, the money, or the fact that I get to tussle with celebrities. And they're not doing it for the love of the craft anymore. I can honestly say, despite Jessica being known for doing a lot of lewd work, she is still doing it for the sake of the love of the craft. The fact that she cranks them out the way she does, and again, even if they are lewd cosplays, even if they're risky cosplays, she is still doing it for the base sense of the love of the craft. That is why I will still give her some respect. Whereas, like I said, some Joe Schmo will do it for the sense of, oh, I'm just only doing this because I'm getting money off of it. Whereas in that case of it, I'm looking people like some people. I'm like, just you doing it for that. You're in it for the wrong freaking reasons. The wrong reasons. It's tiresome. But people like Bane Armstrong, I feel like that's the case of it. I somewhat am a bit disappointed on the fact of some of those people. But I try not to think about uh, associating because I won't lie, there are a few of those people I once associated with. And fortunately, some of them have cut me out of their lives, into their own intention of it, because of the fact that they don't want to, because of certain reasons, things that I have said, things that I have done. I don't know, but I do know they've made it easy for some of those people, made it easy for me to move on despite ending the friendship. But then there are some who I understand where I I'm just disappointed that I would have fixed things of it. So, but it is what it is. But I also stand on a post that somebody made on Threads, and I restated this again on TikTok. We need to call out the bigots in this community. Never in my life have I thought that so many bigots that we would have in this community. And I'm so tired of that being a thing. Um, so, with that being stated, um, I feel like it's crazy the fact that over the years I'm looking at something else, trying to not relate on the sense of it. It's not related. Um, so I saw this picture over the years of my early battle vest. So for those out there who know, I for years worked on. I've been working on my battle vest, um, and I actually will show a picture of this if you're watching this on the video. Um, I only had a few pins and a few patches, and now fast forward years later, I have now gained so much more pins and stuff. I've accumulated over these last several months or last year or so. So, and then I think I can show on here. So, again, if you're watching this on the channel on my YouTube on my video version, then you'll see this on the front, on the back, with the bands on the sides. The latest one I have is a Bad Brains patch. So Death, Prince, Blink 182, Rob Zombie, Rancid, Suicidal Tendencies, The Cure, Dead Kennedys, Nirvana, Guar, Rammstein, Green Day, Korn, My Chemical Romance, Ghost, Black Flag, System of a Down, and Misfits. And yes, I got Misfits before the former vocalist was outed as a bigot. And then, of course, the front has so many patches and stuff, pins from random nerdy stuff that I've gotten over the years, from anime to video games to wrestling to even a few pins from certain artists. So yeah, but if you want to look, if you are not listening, if you're not watching the video version, if you want to know the patches are of it, sense of it, I do have them posted on both my TikTok and my Red Note, or my Xianghouzhu app, as they would like to be referred to. You can see all the basis of my battle vest. I probably will be agreeing on that. On a non-related note, since this will be it for the podcast for today's episode, I do want to put some announcements out there. Anna Marathon, by the time this episode is up, I will be attending Anna Marathon, even if it means I have to take a lift to Anna Marathon, but it will be happening. I will be attending Anna Marathon. Also, I will be doing shoots at Anna Marathon. So if you are interested to work with me, make sure you go online my website or go on my post, and I will be posting that as well. Also, for Anna Marathon, I will be doing limited bookings only for Saturday. I will not be attending Sunday. So if you want to get with me, I'm usually going to be doing my 10 for 10. 10 photos, $10, $1 per photo. So if you want to shoot with me for 10 for 10, hit me up, email me, let's message me if you want to get in. Aside from that, I do know that I will be doing I will be in the process of rebuilding my portfolio for my photography, my cosplay, because as many of you seen on my social media, unfortunately, I lost almost 10 years of work from my cosplay photography. And so now I'm back to square one. So if you are interested to work with me, hit me up. I will be doing another 10 by 10 for Anna Marathon this year. So yeah, just make sure you go do that. Aside from that, uh, I do know ColossaCon is still in the process of happening. If you are interested for that, might as well show this on the screen for at a marathon. So last year at a marathon, I did a 10 for 10 special, 10 photos for $10. If you're interested, email me or hit me up on my social media, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, or email me, or even go to my website for interest. Aside from that, I will also be doing a another special for that. Also, for I have the other ad too. I will be doing a special on ColossaCon as well. So, 50 edited shots, sent link, DM for details of it, same thing of it. Price will range depending on who I shoot with. Just that will be on a message basis reservation, and hopefully I will be able to do it within the whole week of ColossaCon weekend. So that varies. So if you want to work with me and shoot with me, help me rebuild my cosplay portfolio, hit me up on my social media, Dry Media on Instagram, and Donnie Blaq on Twitter and Blue Sky if you are interested. With that being stated, hopefully I will be back to do another episode on my podcast. I will be able to do more, and hopefully I will have a schedule as well. Also, my VTubing. Don't get too comfortable as again with me on camera because it'll probably be limited to my podcasting along with certain interviews. When it comes to the streaming part, my web camera, it will probably be my VTubing avatar once I get the model and rigging taken care of. Once that technical situation is coming back, you will find out the release date for my debut of my VTuber debut. You will know soon. I promise you will know soon. Along with sometime next month, I may be launching my new merch as well, including this shirt that I'm wearing on screen, which is my Donnie Blaq logo shirt, and my VTubing logo design shirt. Those both will be shirts that I will be having on my merch shop, along with a shirt that if you've seen on TikTok and on Instagram, you've probably seen it. I posted a shot with my best friend Brittany wearing a shirt that I designed in honor of the 10-year anniversary for my company, Dry Media, which also features a picture of the very first photo we shot together. So, if you are interested in any of those shirts and other merch, you'll be able to go to my website. You will find out about that. It will be linked to my photography website as well. So be aware of that. But for now, I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you to everybody who has supported me in the sense of everything. I'm sorry that I've been taking long with episodes of the podcast as usual, but I assure you, I will be having a rotation for it soon. So until then, thank you for listening or watching. Hopefully, I'll be doing more episodes soon for material. I will also hopefully be doing live episodes as well. It will be happening. Okay? So till then, thank y'all for watching and listening. I will see y'all into the next episode and later days.